satisfied with my services and stay with me. If for some strange reason a new board takes over and they were to say, well, we just want to have our own new council, we think that you, even though we believe that you are not too closely connected to the prior board, there's an appearance to our owners that maybe you were, and we just want to start fresh. Even with those boards, typically they say, but finish up the cases that you're working on and we'll just go to new council with new cases. But that's up to you. It's however you want it. In fact, I just had a client who recently said, you know, there's a new board, we want to change council, here's our new council. Give us a status report on everything that's pending. Gave him a status report. I told him, you know, where I thought that it would cost him more money if he switched council, but it's up to him. And, you know, I said I'd cooperate as best as they wanted. And now all of a sudden they've told me, don't send them anything, and it appears they're not switching council. It's really your choice. And frankly, I had a couple of clients who over the years, I would say not a lot, but I had 2 clients over the years where there was a particular board member on each of the 2 boards where if I didn't say exactly the opinion that he wanted or she wanted, one was a he, one was a she, that they would say, well, you know, we're going to go to other council. And so they would ping pong back and forth maybe 3 times over the years between me and one of the big firms. And after several months, they'd always come back. And then maybe 6 months later, I'd give another opinion that the president didn't like, and he'd say, well, I'm going back. And he'd go back to the other council, and then maybe he'd be up north, and while he was up north, the board would come right back, or maybe he'd come back and he'd see the way, and he'd come back. And there's no hard feelings ever, and as I was just saying, I don't care if a client decides they want to use other counsel. It's business. It's not personal, and I don't take it that way. So I do leave the lines of communication open, and if a client wants to change their mind, there's no hard feelings. They don't have to feel like they can't come back now because of how they left. So clients, as I just mentioned, not only decide not to leave after saying they're going to leave, but also come back.
Thank you. I noticed in your resume you have a lot in common with our President Obama in terms of the law review and your graduation status. That was impressive.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Well, I don't know how many people know this in the audience, but our president was the president of the Harvard Law Review, and that is extremely impressive.
Well, I didn't go to Harvard, but I had just moved to South Florida right before school and decided that I really liked it here, so I was not about to leave. So, to the dismay of my parents, I chose not to go Ivy League, and I stayed at the University of Miami. But the good news for them was that I didn't either, one, incur tons of loans for myself or big debts for them by going to a school where I could get scholarships, whereas with Ivy Leagues, usually you end up with huge, huge debts.
The weather's better here.
Yes, much better, and that's why I stayed. Absolutely.
Do we have any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. If there's no other questions, I can see if I have any more cards I can leave for you. And if you have any other questions, your manager knows how to get in touch with me. I'd be more than happy to assist. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Okay, the next thing on our...
Put the thing in front of me. They put it under the table. It doesn't reach that way.
What?
The microphone. You got to...
You don't hear?
No, the wire. To switch back the other way, yeah.
Not here.
So otherwise it won't reach.
Okay. All right, we have our manager's report right now. Oh, more minutes, excuse me. We'll wait. No. She has
Okay, this is the board workshop that we had on Friday the 23rd. Board workshop was held for the purpose of reviewing disputed items in the budget. Board members present were Monique Stewart, Sheila Saber, Lori Hunt, Rosalie Schulman, Kathy Fay, Harvey Ratner, Marvin Frisch, and Bryce Kyle. Jerry Clark and Ann Jerez were absent with prior notification to the board. Under 718, this workshop will be considered a board meeting since a quorum of the board is present. President Sheila Saber called the meeting to order at 5 p.m. Our treasurer Lori announced that she and Marvin Frisch had met and gone over the items that were in dispute. Lori asked Marvin to present the findings to the board. The line items in question were 7401 electricity and 7402 water and sewer. Both of these were annualized using actuals from the first 9 months of 2009. 7006 bad debt was adjusted to $100,000, eliminating the line item for association-owned units, which had no number, and using actual percentages from our delinquency list as the basis for the distribution of the bad debt, taking into account the buildings where the owned units are located. Under contract services, after receiving an opinion from an attorney with regard to the 718 and the closing of amenities, we have added the bowling alley back into the budget. This issue will be discussed at our next meeting. 8010 payroll had to be adjusted due to the decrease in Hector's full-time status and therefore his salary. A motion was made by Lori, seconded by Monique, to increase the salary of Teresa as of January 1st, passed unanimously. A motion was made by Harvey, seconded by Rosalie, to keep Hector at a full-time status until the end of the year. Passed with all voting yes, except for Monique, who voted no. Hector's employment status was discussed with regard to employee versus independent contractor. We will make a final decision on this at our next meeting after Sheila consults with Vishnu. Monique suggested that she speak to the attorneys instead. A motion was made by Marvin, seconded by Grace, to ratify the budget as amended and presented by Marvin. Passed unanimously. On a motion by Grace, seconded by Rosalie, the meeting was adjourned at 6:50 p.m.
Any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I have a correction to the last statement that was made. My comment was not that you speak to the attorneys instead. My comment was that it's more appropriate to speak to our attorneys about legal matters versus our accountants. Well, there's a big difference. He's an accountant, he's not an attorney. So on a legal issue, our attorney is a proper person, not the accountant for information.
Any other corrections or additions to the minutes? Any other additions or corrections? Make a motion that will someone please make a motion to accept the minutes as amended? Someone please make a motion? And the minutes have been approved as amended? Okay. We will now have our manager's report, please.
Okay, good evening. I met with Polly Hampton, the planner with the City of Plantation, to go over the use of our parking lot for future enhancement to our property. The meeting went well as building officials explained the permit costs as well as the time frame it would take to file the necessary permits. We also discussed the other options available to us, like for example building a small park on those grounds, effectively downsizing the parking lot, basically splitting it in half if we wanted to. And they just kind of explained to me how long the process would take. It would take about a year or two just for the permits to go through, and that's just something that I took upon myself because as I drive the property, that area just looked just bad as far as just we're storing the contractors equipment there and a lot of debris, and over the years there's grass growing, and we've shorted up a little bit since I've been here, but I felt it'd be necessary to at least meet with them to find out what we can do to at least make some good use of it in the future. Also, we will have to provide the building code division a plan of attack fairly soon to attack our elevators. In order to use any leftover money from our settlement, we will have to finish our construction project first. However, we have to submit a plan of action to the City of Plantation since they have been threatening us with closing us down. Thankfully, we have not received any complaints regarding our elevators in about a month. We do need to decide soon how we will pay for these elevator upgrades, since at least Building 2 is faced with an assessment in order to address that issue. Next on the item, I have our fire extinguishers and alarm monitoring have finally completed their annual inspection.